Welcome to Neutral Voices. I'm Dr. V, and this is In Depth, where we dig deep in the trenches of what matters. And tonight's topic is fear.
Fear. Fear.
Yes, and y'all already know.
Yes.
You
yes.
know,
Yeah.
fear
don't
in
be
all
scared.
different forms. I was
Don't
gonna
be
say,
scared. Don't be scared.
I can't actually pretend like I am not overtaken by fear sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And you try not to tell people your fears because you don't want people to try to set you up. But
Right.
there's a whole lot of phobias, and we're going to get into some of those phobias and fears and some things you can do to help yourself
Yes,
if you're
this is
dealing
gonna be
with fears.
interesting.
And I don't know what these two are up to.
I'm not.
but
I'm
I
not up to
feel
nothing.
something going on over here. So
I'm
let's
over
He's afraid of the truth. That's what's gonna happen. He has fear of the truth.
okay. So let's
I'm
get
afraid
into
looking at you. That's what I'm
Okay,
afraid
well,
of.
y'all watch this first video, and then we're gonna talk about it.
This is your body on fear. Fear evolved in humans to protect us. When you're scared, your brain sets off an elaborate and coordinated response, even if there's no threat. These physical changes, from deep inside your brain all the way to the muscles in your legs, happen in seconds. That's because of your sympathetic nervous system, or your fight or flight response. It's part of your autonomic nervous system, which manages reflexes like breathing, digestion, and your heartbeat. Fear kicks your fight or flight response into overdrive. Your adrenal glands secrete adrenaline. Blood flow decreases to your brain's frontal lobe, which is responsible for logical thinking and planning. Your amygdala, a more animalistic part of your brain, takes over. Your heart rate and blood pressure increase, you breathe faster, and your muscles tense up. Your pupils dilate so you can see the threat more clearly. Blood flows away from your extremities, making your hands cold and clammy and making you feel flushed and sweaty. Your digestion slows down. Your body doesn't know the difference between a real threat and a perceived threat. That's why your fight or flight response kicks in during things like public speaking or being in a crowd. To your fear response, you're always running from a predator in the woods.
I would say always running from the predator for sure.
Always running.
Listen, one of the things that come to mind, you ever hear people talk about the lizard brain?
Yes.
So we have that animal instinct.
Yes.
Certain things about us, we're built like that. So,
Mhm.
so just thinking about that video and all the different things that happen, have you ever thought about from a physical perspective that when you are frightened, all of these things are happening to you at the same time?
Yes. Yes.
So imagine, take a walk with me real quick. I'm getting ready to get into my scary voice. Turn the lights down and make them flicker. No, imagine sitting in your living room and all of a sudden, no one's home but you. You're sitting in your living room, sipping your tea, feeling good. Maybe you're watching your sports. I don't know.
Sipping
But-
yak.
Sipping whatever. And then all of a sudden, your front door slams open. And so
I feel sorry for whoever opened that door.
so I'm just saying, instantly, because it was that loud bang, fear comes over you.
Right.
Something comes over you. And so now you got to try to figure out, you want to go check it out?
Yes.
Or do you want to stay put? Or you want to go high? So
Yes.
that whole, when it was talking about the fight or flight,
Right, response,
you got to
yes.
get ready. You about to put your dukes up, but what you going to do, E?
If somebody come and slam in my front door, ain't no flight coming. I'm sorry to tell you. It's all fight.
Well-
ain't no running, ain't no jumping, ain't no none of that. I got something to make them run right back out.
So you saying you going to confront it. You going to see what's going
hey,
down.
hey, me and my homies got him.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about it.
But as that response, a comedian I was just watching it. I think it was it was Cedric the Entertainer, the Kings of Comedy. He said, black people, you don't have to tell them to run. If they see one black person running, every black
Everybody
person,
run.
that's a
Everybody run.
response. So that kicks into fear where you go in and you don't know what's going on. So you just, that response is what they said. That's what you do. You respond to that. And that flight or you just going out of there. So some of us, we don't need to know what it is. We just going to go.
I know. And so, when I hear the description, I think that happens to me. And I've been in those situations. I would tell you even something as, and we know it's natural, but like storms, certain thunderstorms, and you hear the sounds of lightning or whatever it is. And so you feel something, and it's that whole anxiety that's coming over you, or the fear of the unknown. And we've heard that so many times.
Right.
So think about some of the people that's been experiencing, some of the tornadoes in the South that we've been hearing about. And then, of course, we could think about the war. And so not knowing anything, and then you hear an explosion, you don't know if it's right here, and so those type of fears. But I can tell you, I have been in a position where I know my pupils had to dilate to the major level because of the type of fear that I have experienced. Right. So with that thought in mind, do you believe, and I know y'all about ready to get into a debate, but do you believe that you are born in fear, or is it something that's learned?
I believe. Did you say I'm stupid? I gotta give you that one. Give it good.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I can't have y'all sitting together.
I apologize.
But
I'm sorry.
No, that was good. But I'm gonna give you this. Fear, I don't think we're born with. I think we're born with the responsive nature of fear. Okay. And here's what I'm gonna say. Fear is not an emotion.
I like how you say
fear is not an emotion. Fear, what the emotion you feel is what the response. You become afraid. It just said it on that video. Did y'all watch the video? The video tells you you're not afraid. Your body responds to something. It's stimulated. So you can't be born with something. That's an exterior stimulant, like stress. Stress is not an emotion. Stress is a stimulant. Stress and fear in the same category. Fear is not an emotion. You're not born with fear.
Okay. Do you have a different opinion to that?
Come on. That's the science.
Well, I'm just looking
Come
at
on. So you're talking science.
That's
science,
in science facts.
Okay.
Okay.
Not all the time.
For
not all
our
the time.
listeners,
Well,
you can't see. E is actually in the thinking posture.
It's certain things I want to say to you right now.
Go ahead.
But I'm gonna behave. No, I ain't afraid. I'm just gonna behave because you started off with some. Okay.
I started off with science.
I'm just gonna put it like this: if God said fear Him, that means He installed that already in you.
Oh, there they go. There they go.
Every time I'm just talking about am I correct? Am I correct? Okay. I mean, in Deuteronomy, I could tell you in Deuteronomy, that's what He had said it.
Okay.
What he said?
That's what He had said.
Tell me what He said.
So, in other words, if he telling you don't fear nobody but me, so that means it's already installed. He put that in you out the gate.
That's a good point.
Now I'm about to be insulting.
Am I correct?
I got to put a warning out there. I'm about to be insulting because
you gonna insult me?
Oh yes.
Go ahead.
That's the fear of the truth right there when you insult somebody.
I'm about to give you the truth because you go fear. Do you know what a thesaurus is, Brother Eric?
Oh my goodness. Go ahead.
Do you know what a thesaurus is? Now, the fear in the Bible in which you're talking about. You have to research it.
Okay.
The fear that God talks about in the Bible is not to be afraid. The fear that God talk about is in reverence. It's in sacred reverence, in awe, in utmost respect. You'd hold nobody in a greater capacity than Him. Fear Him that you put nobody above. It's in reverence. Look it up. That's what that fear is. But you want to go to the Bible. I'm going to tell you, God has not given us the spirit of fear.
And who has given it before
power.
You continue with that wonderful scripture? Because
I know you was going there.
We can actually look at the time or when fear first showed up on the scene. So since we want to go to the Bible, do we recall the garden?
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So fear showed up. And then,
I'm waiting for this one. I was waiting for you to get to this one.
Okay. So I'm just saying, so fear showed up and Adam said, what did he say? Straight evidence of fear.
No, you're misinterpreting it. I'm sorry, I got to tell you.
No, he said.
I'm sorry, you.
No, wait.
I know what he said. Go ahead, say
it. He said, I am afraid, and he was afraid because God was asking him a question, and he was hiding.
But what did he say? He
said, I was naked.
He said, I was afraid.
I was afraid.
He never said I was in fear. He said, I was afraid.
Afraid.
Afraid is the response. He was
Oh, my
afraid. He
goodness.
did
But
not
that's
say
when-
that. No, Doc V. I gotta
no,
tell you,
that's
Doc
when
V.
it showed up.
That is
If
not
you,
fear.
okay,
after
so
you ate,
look
right?
up the word afraid, because if I tell you I'm afraid to go in that room,
That's a response to fear.
and
A response.
fear is connected to it.
It's not
so
fear,
that's
though.
why I said it showed up at that time. Fear showed up.
But he was still in fear and reverence because God was all that he knew.
He was hiding from God because he was afraid.
Afraid.
If
he was not in fear.
somebody breaking into my
Hold on.
house or somebody coming to get me and I'm hiding, like what happens in most
You're
scary
responding.
movies,
You're
I'm
responding.
everything you do is a response.
Right. But fear is not an emotion. You're not born with
everything
that.
you do,
Fear is not an emotion.
Fear is not
Fear
an
is
emotion.
an
It's a
emotion.
response.
It's not.
It's not.
your
How come?
response then
It-
to whatever
your
that
response
is.
to
Stress is not an emotion.
Hold on, your
So
response.
y'all see
to,
where this gonna go.
see, hold on.
I'm trying to educate
Hold on,
y'all.
no, please don't, because you coming from Dr. Zeus right now.
No, I'm
But
telling
see,
y'all the
hold on,
truth.
Hold on. If fear
Did
is
you not watch the video that we just watched?
Goodness, would you close your face?
There's a whole lot of things that happens to the body physically
Physically.
when you're
It responds
when-
to a stimuli.
So if
fear
you,
is
if
a
you,
stimuli. It
so
is not
if
an
you-
emotion.
If you, hold on. So
Well,
if
we
you
understand.
have fear, and your body responds to that, just like if you are love someone or you in love, your body responds to that particular person. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, fear is.
But
Did
your
you just
body
not answer your own question?
no. But your body does not respond to love. Your body
How come it
responds.
don't?
It does not. Your body love is an action, and it's not. It's also a
So-
stimuli. I'm
How
trying
come
to.
it don't?
okay. So
I'm trying to
You
tell
love your
y'all.
wife, right?
you see
Nah.
why I have to guide this a little bit and calm the people down.
I'm just trying
Okay,
to figure
so you
this
get
one
ready
out.
to get into love. So when you start talking about love, then so we got to get into the
Well,
oxytocin.
Well, and that's going to
And
take
that's-
away from where we are.
That's the
And
same
I
thing
really,
that
I
we
really,
just
gonna
talked
say-
about fear. Am I correct?
Yeah. So there's
Thank you,
different
Dr. V.
chemicals that we release.
Thank you.
Our body, our
Right,
brain releases
which are
different
responses.
chemicals.
different
For
chemicals,
fear, for love, and
which
for
are a stimulant,
So
Okay.
let me just
Let's
say,
move
just
on.
like alcohol.
but let me say this, and I just want to say this in reference to the garden. When fear showed up, it showed up in sin. And so we can connect that to today and how fear operates. If fear is present, then more likely sin is present. Sin is in the midst. And so whether it's the person that's getting ready to commit the act that's causing the fear, but at some point in the garden,
I
see,
will not dispute that
we
point.
can see that is when fear showed
I will
up.
say amen
right
to that.
after
I
the
will say
sin.
amen
You
to
just
that.
made a powerful point.
I'm going to say amen
and
to that.
so-
Yeah,
Yeah, so if we are in the spiritual realm, then obviously we're not dealing with
Right.
fear.
Yeah.
And
And I'm
so
gonna
that
say
goes
amen
back
with that.
to the fear as far as reference.
Yes. Yes.
God.
Yeah.
Okay, so all I asked y'all was a simple question: was, are you born with it?
Oh,
or
we was going
is
at it
fear
before.
learned?
We had
Okay,
a sparring match before.
I want to just mention a couple because we got a couple other videos, but I want to mention a couple facts with dealing with fear. Some things that I hadn't even thought about, and I thought it was pretty creepy that people can smell fear on you.
Once again, it's a response. The pheromones, your body releases
Yes.
pheromones and chemical reactions that your body change. Animals can smell. That's why they use bloodhounds to track, because most people is afraid and they can pick up on
Mhm.
that scent. That whatever that admittance is or omission is, the scent of your chemical
Yes.
reaction in your body. That's how. Yes,
So it's the
Exactly.
response of being fear, or having fear, right?
fear is a stimuli. I'm telling you, you're not gonna get me off
Okay.
that.
I'm just
Yeah.
not sure.
Keep going.
Another interesting fact: you can inherit fear
No,
from your
That's
parents or
mindset.
your grandparents.
No, that's
you
mindset.
can inherit fear.
environmentally inherited. You cannot transmit fear. Fear is not like an STD.
You
You're
can
not gonna be able.
inherit.
You're not gonna be able to transmit fear.
How is it that you inherit a lot of things? Because you're taught by
Right.
your parent, the person that is raising
So
you.
you're
Right.
saying
You're
they can pass it down,
You can,
but it's a
yes,
mindset.
But it's not
It's a
inherited,
mindset.
Dr.
It is inherited.
It's a mindset. So my thing. I mean,
community,
oh,
do
she
your
don't want to hear
research.
it. She don't want to hear it.
Do your research.
It's a
and look it
mindset.
up.
At
Dr.
that point-
V is not going to bring anything to the panel and I have not researched
No,
it.
we're not.
It's a mindset. And I don't think you
But
can pass
you can
that down.
inherit it. So let's look at
Oh,
that a little deeper then.
Yeah, because
Let's
at the
look
end of the
that
day,
a little deeper.
let's look at it like this. And not like you were saying, you can inherit it.
Mm-hmm.
Only way you inherit that is mental.
And it could be.
It's mental because
but if it's mental,
hold on,
it's
it's a mindset because simple fact, if I continue to tell you that you ugly, you ugly, you ugly, you know what I'm saying, and then you pass that same message down to your child.
That means I inherited it.
No, I mean,
Well,
it's the mindset.
And I'm gonna now the way you pointed that, Doc V.
Because everything is not in your bloodline that you inherit. Because you can inherit a whole lot of money.
That's where I was going to go with that. Yeah,
you
I was
can
going to agree
inherit
with
a
you on
whole
that
lot
one,
of
Doc V.
problems.
I was going to agree with you
So
on that.
when I
one.
say
I
fear
feel
can be inherited,
it can be passed on, yes. In that way, yes.
Okay,
I'm going to go agree with you on that, Doc
All
V.
right, let's get to another fear fact.
We sold out.
No, she made a point. I got to agree. When right is right, I got to agree.
You sell out.
Another one, and y'all mentioned it, but fear is opposite of love.
Yes.
And so as we release those oxytocins from our brain, then it's kind of hard to have both going on at the same time. So, but now let me tell you how come I wrestle with that fact.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking sometimes you're in love and love is blind and you want to jump the broom, but you're afraid. And so you just that fear, and you hear them say cold feet.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, so you're so in love, but you got cold feet and you ran away at the altar.
Don't do it. Reconsider.
And that's why I said I had a problem. Well, I had a problem keeping the two separate because I was kind of seeing them both connected. So, but anyway, we do have another video before y'all get on a tangent. I think we want to take a peek at this next video.
I don't remember.
Sheriff, we're just trying to put the pieces together. Nobody's accusing you of anything.
I am. You think you can come in here and cast the same aspersions on me you did back then and expect different results?
Sheriff,
tell me what really happened.
Did you see her? Did you see what was left of her? I did not murder Roseanne Barnes, nor did I have anything to do with her death.
Sheriff. Please. What happened when you woke up?
I was trying to fix my face.
And all that we're listening, this is a prime example of why I say we're not born with fear. This trauma sometimes bring on fear and experience. And this man in this video experienced something. And he was talking about the seeing of the body. If you see things, if you feel things, if you see things, you go through things, you endure things, those things bring on the response, and that puts a fear in you. You learn things. I'm gonna tell y'all, I don't mess with electricity because I learned at a young age that you don't mess with electricity. So that spark that gave me that fear, that was something that came from the outside. Nobody told me to be afraid of electricity. I had to learn to be afraid of electricity. And to this day in age, I don't mess with nothing electrical.
Right. And that's because you had that type of experience.
Right.
So another fact about fear is that all fear is not connected to some big event.
No, it's not all.
Event.
Yes.
So if it's not connected to a major event,
well,
I'm waiting to get there because we're gonna hit that.
Okay, and they always got something up their sleeve now. See, so now I'm afraid.
Don't be afraid.
What
Don't be
might
afraid.
come down the pipes here in the
Don't
next
do that.
few minutes. But I just wanted to say when I say that that fear is not always connected to some big event or some big
Right.
thing, something that happened.
That's true.
Because sometimes it's silent. Because like a child, sometimes with shyness,
Mm-hmm.
I can say I know I have some relatives. Well, myself. I'm actually shy.
Where at?
And people don't believe it, but I am. But so the shyness, or you have people, they kind of withdraw and they kind of want to be to themselves. They have a fear of being around other people and things like that. So, it's not always this big thing that happened. And so, yeah, it could be that, fear of speaking in public. I know some of my students, they just freak out when they have to do a presentation. So there's those other things connected to fear. And so I know y'all ready to get into something. Go ahead.
Well, I want to hold off because it's coming. I think we're going to get into this conversation, and then I'm going to wrap mine in a bow to see what we can do.
Okay. So what fears can you speak of that are universal?
Universal?
That most people deal with, regardless of culture, etc.
And I'm not going to say they're in this order, but the top fears are fear of spiders, fear of heights, and fear of crowds. Those are some of the top fears. Spiders is one, like the number 1, 2, or 3 in fears, and that's universal from cultures, ages, sex, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The fear of spider is one of the most universal fears.
So how did they get the fear of spiders?
Keep talking. I got an answer for that.
He's trying to stir up stuff.
No, I'm asking a question. How do you have a fear? How do you have a fear of spiders?
And I got an answer.
Okay, let me finish my question,
Okay.
please. How do you have a fear of spiders, a fear of heights, a fear of crowds? Well, I ain't gonna say crowds. I'll just say heights. If you've never been in a high place, she just said.
I got you. And
fears don't come from major events or anything like that. So, I mean, I'm just trying to prove my point. That is, at the end of the day, fear is installed in you.
I got an answer for it.
Not what you thinking.
No, it's
and it is on emotion.
Okay, and I can see that they're going to continue this on the ENC show, not
I'm just trying to figure it out.
NV show.
No, it's the NV show. I just, I'm just asking a question.
I know,
that's all I'm doing.
And I think the answer is coming, and that's why I don't want to get too ahead.
I'm just asking.
Right. So when I
question.
mentioned the universal, one of the other things that came to mind for me was the fear of loss, the fear of failure. So many times we don't attempt certain things because we're afraid that we're not going to succeed. Or I remember being young, I always had this thought of losing my parent, either parent, and I just thought I wouldn't be able to function if that happened. So I walked around with that type of fear.
Right.
But I believe that those things are fears that we all deal with.
Yes.
And so we have another short video.
Yeah, we have another short video.
Yeah, before we get there.
Because
he wanted to speak on some childhood losses or
childhood
parental.
fears.
Childhood fears. But I wanted to kind of ask him a question, having a daughter. Have you experienced parental fears?
Every day.
Okay. So I just want to say that's another one.
I have that fear every day. I mean, my son go to school. My daughter is 2.5 hours away from me. Something were to happen, is always on the back of my mind.
Absolutely.
Something that might happen to my daughter, and I got to get to her. Something happened to my son, I got to get to him. So yeah, I'm fear every day, especially this day and age with my son being 15 and he's almost 6'1", and at the end of the day, the way the world is running, they might mistake him for.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Not necessarily mistaken, but
so
driving while black.
Yeah, so I have that fear when it comes to him. You know what I'm saying? And I have that fear for myself.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, and that's what I was thinking. So I just wanted to mention parental fear so we can kind of get into that. Clarence, did you have one you wanted to cover?
Well,
because I know fear has some power to it.
And fear has power to it. Fear can be crippling. Because that's a response, and I'm not going to say it's an emotion. It's a response to an emotion. So here's what I'm trying to.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what's
for
going
our
on.
listeners,
but
we have all kinds of stuff going on between ENC tonight.
But
we want to talk about the power of fear.
Yes.
And cultural fear. So we just want to touch on that a little bit here.
Yes. We have a question. I don't know if somebody, and I got to address this.
Okay, we had a question come in,
Yes.
and it came in hot.
Yes.
So
And the
let's
question is, and I don't
address
know
the
where it
question.
came from, and it says, why do elephants fear a mouse? That is a myth. That is a myth. That has been disproven. That is a myth. Elephants do not fear mice.
And so, is there a way you can connect that? Because we always welcome comments
Well,
from viewers,
yes.
because someone may really believe that.
Can,
So, psychologically speaking,
before we, and I'll finish it after this video, but I want to give you a word before we go in the video, and I want everybody to think about this word. It's phobia.
yes.
Phobia. And we're going to talk about phobia. Think about phobia. Do you know what phobias are?
Yeah.
Yeah, we.
I don't want to miss this
mentioned,
video. But
we mentioned a few of them.
yeah, but hold on. And that's why I said I want to wrap mine in the bow, Doc V.
Okay. All right. Well, you want to watch? You ready
Yeah,
for
I'm
the
ready
video?
for it, yes.
Well, all right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and watch this next video.
Doc V.
Okay. So I don't do scary movies. So somebody's gonna have to come home with me tonight.
Your fear kicked in?
Fear factor.
You know what? That's that. I'm gonna say, well, not really false reality, but you know, when he saw the deer,
Right.
or whatever, that was one thing. So sometimes you think you know what's coming, and it's like, oh shoot, you scared me. I thought it was,
Right.
something
Right.
else.
Something
so
else.
that's that false reality,
Right.
and it's like
And,
that happens a lot.
and where you talked about the power of fear, sometimes fear make us think, do things in response to that. You see this man start up his car normally. He was over trying to
Oh,
start up his
man.
car, so he wasn't thinking straight.
Yes.
Fear can
Why
stop
does that
you.
happen? And you trying to get the key in the door, and
Yeah.
the key, I can't. What? It won't go in.
Yes,
Because you're moving too fast.
because
Anxiety
yes,
and
the
worry.
anxiety and the power
Yes.
that the fear or the stimuli gives you, it does do those things to you. It makes you stand still. You know where
Paralyzed.
you can't run.
That's right.
And then it makes you run faster than you ever. It's a stimuli. So
Adrenaline.
yeah.
yeah.
So that's where the power of fear, and it can stop a lot of us, and it has stopped a lot of us from doing things. And you said culturally, we had a discussion, and I know we're going to wrap it up, but I want to hit phobia. But I want to hit the culture real quick. Go ahead.
Before you hit that, I wanted to say we was talking about inherited before y'all got to something. And I'm sure somebody was waiting to hear how fear is inherited. So I just wanted to say real quick, when a parent is afraid of something, like if they are raised to be afraid of flying,
Right.
for instance. So I just wanted to
They're
use
not going to
that
let their
one.
children fly.
Most of the time they're not going to let the child fly, and even when the child is ready, and a lot of times they'll even try to talk the child out of it as an adult.
Yeah.
They're
And we
still
had
trying to talk
something where you
you
say
out
it's
of it.
inherited.
So-
Jay-Z, we played the clip before
Yes.
where Jay-Z said his uncle tried to project his fear of him not making
That's
it, telling
right.
him, you'll never sell 1 million
Yes.
records. So, yeah, we can project those fears, and you if you take them on, you take them on. But yes,
Absolutely.
That's why I
Yeah.
say it's a mindset.
Right, and
Because-
it connects to the mindset.
Well,
so I understand why you say
Yeah,
that.
it's a mindset. So if I believe it,
Or if you believe what your parents said.
yeah,
then
like I
you
said,
never
if I believe it,
yeah,
that
you
then
never check it out for yourself.
Yeah, it's soaked in. So that's a mindset. So at the end of the day, you have to have your own train of thought and your own mindset, regardless of what
Absolutely.
somebody else say. Because at the end of the day, it was probably some people when you open up your business try to put fear into you, talking about you will
Yes.
never succeed.
That's
you will never.
right.
So your mindset didn't let that in. So and like I said, to me, I just feel it's a mindset instead of inherited.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got you. But it's
And-
both.
Yes, and culturally, and I'm going to go with the inheritance. Culturally, we talked about this about leaders in our community.
Mhm.
I think a lot of fear of what have happened to past leaders, failure, and people saying that this is not going to happen, this is not going to change. I think culturally, we have taken on that fear of leadership in a lot of places because nobody really wants to take that helm
Mhm.
and move that course forward.
Mhm.
So I think culturally, that's one of our paralyzing fears. We have people that want to do, but nobody that wants to do. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
The eat, as the thing said, eat the elephant. One bite at a time. They don't have that strength or that fortitude, and the fear paralyzes them because they don't know what's going to happen. I'm gonna be ostracized. I'm gonna be this. I'm gonna be that. I could be a martyr. So those are reasonable
Right.
reasons why people fear not to be in leadership.
And so the elephant came across the table.
Yeah.
And so there's some truth behind that whole story. I know you said, oh, that's a myth.
Yes.
But maybe, somebody's thinking about that whole thing as remember, what was it? Pavlov's dog.
Yes.
Or, if you ring
Yeah.
the bell, certain things
Yes.
happen. Or like the invisible fence for the dogs.
Right.
If they run and they get zapped,
Yeah.
you can actually remove that fence. And
Right. And they won't. Yeah.
and they won't do that
It's a
anymore. So they
training.
still have that fear, and it's built in.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I was reading in our notes, and that's why I wanted to get the word phobia. And that's why I want to wrap
there's
my hand
tons of
up on-
phobias.
Yeah, but these are bizarre ones, and I really need to read these
and
to
he's
make
so
my point.
excited about these.
I really
phobias.
need to. Yeah,
So let's hear
I really
the
need to-
phobias that you.
10 most bizarre phobias. I'm not going to read them all,
Okay.
but opening one's eyes. There's a fear of opening one's eyes.
Yes.
Fear of dinner conversation. Fear of bathing. A fear of
A fear
chins.
of bathing.
A fear of chins.
Chins.
A fear of chins. Okay. This is why I wanted to get to phobias. And Doc V, you were saying your research came from the psychological realm, correct?
No, everywhere.
No, you said something about psychological.
I looked at that too because
Okay.
I understand what's happening with the neurons in the brain
Right.
and as they're sending
Right.
signals.
All fears or phobias, which are in the fear category, are irrational, which means that they have no basis. They have no reasoning. They have no reasoning. So if they're irrational, they can't be real.
But that's not true.
That's true. If they're irrational,
okay,
they can't
What's
be real.
scary is
Can I
that
get in?
you think you believe
Yeah.
that. You
It's
think
the
that.
truth.
But
It's-
if you were on a plane and you know it was going down, it was getting ready to crash. Now you have people that are fearless.
You are already
and they
in.
wouldn't be.
I'm
You're
gonna ask you-
responding to that. But
Hold on.
the
I'm
fear
gonna
is.
ask you
You like
a
the
question.
word respond.
no,
Let me in, please.
I'm gonna let you in
because
because I was gonna tell you
Okay.
about me.
no, we don't want to hear about you. We ain't heard enough about you. I need to get into this one
And
because
we may have time to hear about you. Let E say what he needs to say.
if fear is not already installed in you, then why do the media inflict fear onto American people
It's-
with the use of the with the use of media, and I'm gonna say with this COVID situation. You know what I'm saying? Why do the government use the media?
For all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
If it's not already installed in you.
And again,
From economy and
It's-
the gas.
I'm just saying.
different
again,
catastrophes
it's
that we've been
irrational.
experiencing.
Yes,
How is
they
that
use it-
irrational?
Your fears are irrational. Your phobias are irrational. But what they're using, I'm
fear
gonna
of poverty is irrational.
yes.
When people are living it, you tell them that.
You're
When they don't-
living in
when-
it, but
well,
there's
I'm
no
just saying,
reason
when
to
they don't
fear.
have a clue where their next meal is coming from day
That's
to
not
day.
the fear
Or
of
the
poverty.
Fear of hunger.
That's not the fear.
Yes.
That's a reality. That's not a fear.
So fear is reality, right?
I'm waiting on this dude to write his book.
Let me tell you. and
What about the fear of loneliness? People are.
It's
some people
irrational.
Are afraid.
It's irrational. Phobias are irrational. Those are all phobias.
Your conversation right now, it's irrational.
It's factual. It's factual.
I'd like to hear from our viewers and some of the comments. I'm so excited to get to tomorrow. Voice of the People.
Oh, man.
I hate that I'm not going to be a part of that.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
Oh yeah,
I'm ready for it.
Oh my goodness.
Just real quick,
Jesus,
I know
take the
you
wheel.
just mentioned some of the strange phobias and things, but I just want you to know you have to be careful. You have to seek help, and it's okay to see a real counselor. I know some people feel like their pastor can help with everything and pray certain things off of them, and that's a beautiful thing. But you definitely need to be aware of the things that you're afraid of. You don't need to be in denial. I admit I'm afraid of the dark because things look different in the dark. So, I'm just telling you the truth. Even though I know it's my house, if I walk in there, I turn on the light. And
is that why you don't like Eve?
And I turned it on not because I'm afraid I'm not going to trip. I turned it on because I'm being honest and I'm afraid of the dark. Now, here's some other crazy phobias. And I know, Clarence, you had a couple, and you talked about opening your eyes. But what about the one, fear of peanut butter getting stuck to the roof of your mouth? Like, that's a reality,
thing. Though.
I know, but I'm just saying that these phobias are real. A fear of your relatives. What about that one?
Well, some of my relatives, yeah. You know, you got that one cousin that you don't leave in your house. Oh, well, everybody want to hear my fear. And this is why I say they're irrational. I only have 2 fears in life.
Fear of love?
No.
Fear of looking in the mirror.
I have a fear of flying, and I have a fear of needles. And I know those are both irrational fears. And what you say is paralyzing. I have the phobia or the irrational fear of needles that it was to a point that I went to the doctor and my youngest daughter was 2 years old. And I was getting a TB shot. And I guess the angst in my face, she reached up and she grabbed my hand. She said, "Daddy, you need me to hold your hand?" And I know it's irrational. That needle was not going to do anything to me. But that's why I can speak that fears are irrational.
And you know what? And
I'm speaking from experience, and
no
I'm
matter
speaking
what,
from studying.
I know you like the irrational word, but I feel that same thing happened to me when I go to the dentist, and it's the sound and it's everything that goes along with that. But one of the truths is that you can be scared to death. You've heard scared straight. Mm-hmm. You can be scared to death because as far as your physicality, your blood pressure drops so low that you become unconscious. And then next thing is death. So fear ain't nothing to play with. We have to take it serious, and you have to seek help if you suffer from these things. There's certain things that you can, certain treatments that you can undergo that will help you. They have done many studies. One in particular is meditation or some form of yoga to help you with your breathing. And then there's other treatments, hormone treatments, as far as cortisol and things like that. But you would need to see your doctor to see if you need to do any cortisol treatments. What they have found is that those things actually rearrange your memories and your thinking and along with your phobias so that you can almost forget what you're afraid of. So it alters the short-term and long-term memory. And so you mentioned heights. Some people
could do that too.
Some people see, I can't get it. But some people that were
Crown
afraid of
really listen to you.
See how we gonna do it. But I know. I just wanted to make sure we got that point out.
Yes,
some people that have been afraid of heights, those things were treated with the cortisol, and then so they kind of forgot that they were terrified of heights. So it works, and they're doing further study to figure out why some people are fearless because they feel like in certain positions and situations where anybody and everybody should be afraid, those people that show no signs of fear, they tend to think that something must be abnormal and wrong with them.
Right, and that is a react, and I'm glad you said that because in a psychological realm, they believe most fears have some connection to some delusion or antisocial personalities or things such as that. It's they consider them mental disorders, and they have been in the past. Yeah. So
especially if they're fearless.
Yeah.
Yes, so with that, do we have a wonderful closing fear comment?
Yes, yes. And again, I'm going to go with the Bible. When it said God has not given us the spirit of fear, but he's given us a sound mind. That means that if you have to get yourself together at any point, whatever the fear is, whatever is stopping you, whatever is holding you back. Doc V, you gave the psychological, get the treatment, but get yourself together because you can move forward and get past it. You can get past everything. You just got to want to. And that's where we say, always protect your mind. If you got that sound mind, you can do anything.
Always protect your mind. And another thing that helps with fear is get plenty of sleep. So sleep your fears away. This is Neutral Voices. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.